Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well today. I am really excited to talk to you about this topic of self belief. I think it's such an important one. And if you listen to my previous episode, all about how confidence is actually so important for our success, I would actually say it's the most important aspect of whether or not we're going to be successful in whatever we're trying to do. Confidence is that factor that makes, I think, one of the biggest differences. And confidence and self belief really do go hand in hand. So if you didn't listen to that episode already, it's a couple of episodes back talking about the biggest factor in your success. And self belief is so important because it really does make the difference between us taking action and moving forward with something and giving something a try and saying yes to opportunities and closing ourselves off from those opportunities and stopping ourselves from even trying something because we don't feel like we're good enough or we just don't have the self belief. So it's such an important thing to cultivate, whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life, whether that is you're trying to, you know, make more friends, you're trying to get a different job, you're setting up your business, you're looking for love, you're wanting to move to a new country, you're wanting to, buy a house, all of these things, self-belief comes into it and is such an important part of helping us to move forward with our goals, helping us just to feel comfortable in ourselves. I think for me, I have to say, self-belief is something that I'm constantly working on in a way. It's something that I'm constantly thinking about, confidence as well. It's a skill that we get to develop, and giving this some attention is so, so worthwhile and can really pay off in every area of our lives. So, yeah, I guess I just wanted to say that because I think it is quite often something that we need to work on. There's a lot of reasons why we don't have self-belief. There's a lot of messages in our culture, in the media, from other people. We experience setbacks. Social media, obviously, we could talk so much about that. I'm not going to talk too much about what a detrimental effect social media can have on us. But being constantly told that you're not good enough, you're not beautiful enough, smart enough, successful enough, all these things by the messages that we see on social media, that can really have an impact on our level of self belief. So it is something that we can be working on, we can be focusing on and helping ourselves with. And it's absolutely something that we can change. It's not fixed. We're fluid, our brains are plastic, they're changing all the time. We literally rewire our brains every single day, depending on what we focus on, what we learn, and what we think about, what we tell ourselves. So I hope you're really gonna give this a go. Some of the tips and advice I'm gonna share on boosting self-belief. And if you are working on confidence at the moment, I've got a free workshop coming up. It's coming up on, let me just double check the date. It's on the 3rd of July. 2023. And I'd love to see you there. We're going to be working on confidence at work. I'm going to be sharing tons of practical tools and a hypnotherapy session to leave you feeling clear headed, like you can take on the world, like you can go after the dreams that you have for yourself with confidence. So you can sign up for that. It's free at my website, karma-eu.com/workshop. So karma with a C, not with a K, as some people sometimes think. Karma, as in karma relax, karma-eu.com/workshop. And join me on the 3rd of July. There is a replay. So if you're not able to make that date, you'll get sent that replay afterwards. And I'd love to see you there. So let's get into these ideas that I have around boosting self belief. And number one is about setting achievable goals. Now, if you were to say to yourself, I'm going to buy £1 million house in the next 6 months, and that goal, is you're not in a position where you could do that. You're probably not going to get a mortgage. You haven't got the deposit saved. I don't want to discourage you from setting big goals, but the point is set goals that are achievable for you and a little bit of a stretch, but not so outside of the realms of possibility that you're going to end up feeling like a failure when you don't achieve it. Setting small, achievable goals that we can reach so we can see progress, so we can see ourselves achieving something is an amazing way to grow your self belief because you show yourself what you're capable of. You prove to yourself that you can do the things that you want to do and that you can reach your goals. So think about something that is a bit of a stretch, maybe a little bit scary, but something that you know actually is achievable. It is possible. You're not going to be praying for a miracle. And with thinking about your goals, I think, me as a coach, it's very normal for me to be setting goals and doing this with people. But it's amazing how infrequently we actually, unless we're working with a coach, for example, take the time to think about what our goals are, to get really clear on our goals. Not something wishy washy, but to get quite granular. So, thinking about if it's, you want to earn more money, how much do you want to make? If you want to go traveling, where do you want to go? When do you want to go? Setting that date and getting into the details of that goal can really help us to make it happen. If we set these wishy washy goals, we don't know when we've achieved them. So we can't feel good about ourselves for achieving them. And if we don't know where we're going, it's very hard to get there. It's kind of like trying to find your way in the dark. If we set our intention and set our mind on where we're going, we know where that destination is, we know where we're going, and we are more likely to get there. So, number two is all about the way that you speak to yourself. So, speaking to yourself in an affirming way. Now, the vast majority of us on autopilot are speaking to ourselves in a way that we would never speak to someone that we like, let alone someone that we love, in a way that we would never speak to someone if we wanted to encourage them, if we wanted them to be able to bring out the best in themselves. So, for the rest of today, I invite you just to pay attention to how are you speaking to yourself? What are the things that you're saying to yourself? Very often, we have a very loud inner critic and we're telling ourselves, oh, you're rubbish at that. Oh, why did you even bother to try? You knew you were going to fail anyway, or that person never liked me, that sort of thing. So we really want to just pay attention to this. The first step is paying attention to the way that we're speaking to ourselves already. And then next to think about, can we speak to ourselves kindly? And that really just means speaking to yourself as you would a friend. This is such you've heard me say this so many times on the podcast if you are a regular listener. It's such a simple thing, but it's so hard to do. And this is just a reminder to you. This a reminder that when you speak to yourself as you would a friend, you are bringing out the best in yourself. You are cushioning yourself against failure. It means you're more likely to try again. And there's good science to support this, that this is true. Speaking to yourself is such an important thing. And it's so good for our self belief. It doesn't mean you have to go around telling yourself that you're the best person in the world but it really does mean that kindness that allows us to give things a try, that allows us to say, you know what, maybe I can do this. So notice how you're speaking to yourself and then start to speak to yourself as you would a friend. The number three is all about embracing failure as a learning opportunity. Now, I noticed this recently. I had, a period of a couple of weeks where I just felt like things were going wrong. Things were going wrong. I was making mistakes, whether that was sending the wrong thing in an email to a client, whether that was not getting a bit of press that I really wanted, whether that was, I'm trying to remember what it was now, but a few little things had just kind of gone wrong, not gone my way, nothing massively major. But I started to think to myself, oh, I started to get a bit down. I started to think, what's wrong with me? Why is this happening? And I was overly focused on all the things that weren't going well. And then I had to have a bit of a word with myself and say, it's actually completely normal that things are going wrong sometimes. If everything went perfectly all the time, you'd be a freak of nature. It's so human for us to fail, for things to go wrong, for us to make mistakes, for us to experience setbacks. And it was just this really unreasonable expectation that I was having on myself. I should always get things right, never make mistakes, always have good luck, you know? And that's just not the way it works in life. And so remembering that we all experience failure, we all experience setbacks, we all get it wrong sometimes. Sometimes you're going to ask someone out for a coffee and they're not going to want to go. Sometimes you're going to pitch an idea and it's not going to get taken up. Sometimes you're going to go on a first date and not get asked for a second one. And all of these things are not a reflection on you as a person. They are a normal side effect of doing things. So if you're doing things in life, you're going to experience these setbacks. So please know that, you're not alone with this and it is completely normal and it's not a reflection on you. So don't allow that to impact your self belief. Remember, this comes from self compassion, this idea that we're all human. It's recognizing our common humanity. We're all human. We all suffer. We all fail. We all F up from time to time. None of us are immune to failure. So, can we see this as a learning opportunity? Can we see this as a stepping stone? It's often something I say to my clients. Every experience is a stepping stone. It's moving us forward. We're learning and we're growing as a result. Number 4 is to surround yourself with some positive influences. So, think about all the things that we consume in our lives. And I'm not talking about food, I'm talking about the influences that we consume. That might be people, that might be websites that we visit, that might be podcasts, that might be movies that we watch, TV programs, people that we follow on social media. All of these things that we're consuming. And I had a kind of realization the other day. I think I was on Instagram. It was 8 p.m. at night. I was sat next to my partner, Aiden, on the sofa, and I basically started to cry because I'd read something not very nice on someone's Instagram, something quite sad, and it kind of just triggered me basically. And Aidan said to me, like, Chloe, if you had a friend over and they made you feel like that, you would not want to spend time with that person. If someone makes you cry on a regular basis over something that has nothing to do with you, it's not affecting my life, it's not my responsibility, then you wouldn't continue to have that person over. And yet we get triggered by things on social media, whether that's comparing yourself to someone that you went to school with, whether that is, things to do with, someone's body that triggers you, someone's eating habits that triggers you somehow. We really want to be protective of our space and our energy, and these things can impact our self belief. So, how can you really make a conscious audit of what it is that you're consuming? The media, the websites, the films, the TV shows, all of that stuff. Is it helping you to feel good, or is it making you sad? Is it impacting your confidence? Is it causing you to doubt yourself? All of those things. And really thinking about, what do you want to invite into your home? What do you want to invite into your brain and into your space? Because if it's not making you feel good, then it might be time to step away from that. Number 5 is all about using your imagination for positive purposes. Now, our imaginations are so powerful, so, so powerful. I often talk about this in some of my workshops, but many, if not all, professional athletes use some kind of visualization to help themselves to prepare for their events. So people like Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps play a movie in their mind of their event. They see themselves strong, powerful, fast, confident, clear headed. They're in the zone, they're swimming or running, and they're doing their absolute best. They're winning, whatever it is. They're playing a movie in their mind of this because our minds are so powerful. And we use this technique of visualization a lot in hypnotherapy. Our minds are so, so powerful. If you're thinking about yourself as someone with self belief, who takes confident action, who feels good in their body, who is, taking opportunities, who's out there in the world, who's embracing themselves. If you imagine yourself in that way, and really start to think about yourself in that way, your self image is going to come into alignment with the thing that you're visualizing. So, practicing some kind of visualization, and we will talk about this. If you're going to join me on the workshop that's happening in July, karma-u.com/workshop, if you want to join us, then we're going to talk more about this and how you can do this yourself, how you can incorporate this into your life, and you'll get an experience within the hypnotherapy of just how powerful that can be. So number 6 is to invest in self-improvement. Now, I'm somebody who, before I got into the work that I do, was extremely skeptical about any kind of self-improvement. I told myself nothing really works for me. I'm just kind of one of those impenetrable fortresses for which anything, any kind of therapy or reading a book, it doesn't really work. It just kind of slides off like water off a duck's back. I was convinced that nothing would help, basically, that I was a lost cause and probably a bit broken. It wasn't until I got into hypnotherapy, I think that was the thing that really got to that deeper level for me. And I noticed things started to shift. After listening to hypnotherapy recordings, suddenly I I started to have a calmer mind. I remember being in the shower a couple of weeks after listening to these hypnotherapy recordings. This is like 12 years ago or so now. And suddenly my mind was really calm and I was just focused on showering. And instead of my inner critic being extremely loud and obnoxious, I had a clear mind and I was focused on showering and I was feeling positive about the day ahead. And that really showed me, hey, maybe there's something to this self development stuff. Maybe it can work for me. And after that experience, I really went on a mission to try everything that I could. I went on a self-improvement rampage, shall we say, a personal development rampage. Not rampage, I don't know if that's the right word, but I got really into it because I suddenly had this insight that actually it could work for me. Having this attitude towards things like our confidence and our self-belief is hugely helpful. That actually it's like learning any other skill. If you want to get good at something, you read books, you listen to podcasts like you are already, and you try things, and you try courses, and you work with people, and you have conversations about this topic, and you journal. And all of these things make a difference. All of these things make a difference. It can sometimes be a bit of a process, but investing in self improvement, telling yourself, right, I'm going on this journey to help myself to learn and to grow as a person. And it is possible for me to change, just makes a huge, huge difference. So know that all the things you're doing, obviously listening to this podcast now, so you're already on the path, but know that all the things that you're doing can make a difference and can really help. And then lastly, number 7 is all about celebrating your achievements. Now, if you're anything like me, it can be quite hard to do this. I think we're brought up, especially if you're in the UK. I don't know what it's like in other countries. I feel like America is better at this than we are in the UK. We're not very good at celebrating ourselves. There's a sense that it's arrogant, that it's big headed, that we love ourselves if we, celebrate ourselves. And really, there's a very big difference between arrogance and liking ourselves and celebrating ourselves and giving ourselves credit for things. For me, it's been a real practice to learn how to do this, to get better at doing this, because I remember in my secondary school, like one of the worst insults someone could say to you was, you love yourself. Oh, you love yourself. There's something that makes me kind of cringe, even now, slightly, when I think about celebrating myself. But it's so important for our self belief to acknowledge the progress that we've made, the times that we've done things well, the times when we've given things a try, we've shown some courage, we've shown some initiative, and we very often miss these things and discount them. And yet, taking the time to just think, actually, what am I proud of today? What did I do well this week? Were there any compliments that I got? Did I, do a nice piece of work this week? And actually just stepping back and giving yourself credit for that is such a good habit to get into when it comes to our self belief. So, just to summarize all that, remember that self belief is a skill we can develop. It's, our brains are changing all the time. And depending on what we focus on, what we tell ourselves, and what we do, we can believe in ourselves more and feel more confident. And confidence and self belief are key to everything in life, your relationships, friendships, your work, how you feel in yourself, how you feel in your body. It's so worth spending some time on this. And yeah, I'm just wishing you all the best with this whole topic. I love talking about this. It's been a big journey for me. I'm still on the journey. I'm not going to be the most confident person in the world. I'm still on that journey. It's an ongoing process, but I know that it's possible for all of us to make progress in this area. And I'd love for you to join me on, I've forgotten the date again. What date is it? It's the 3rd of July. It's going to be in the evening, 7:30, and we're going to be talking about confidence, how to boost our confidence at work, really practical tools. You'll connect with some other amazing people on the Zoom call. You can say hello to me, and I'll be showing a hypnotherapy session, which is designed to literally rewire your brain to feel more confident. I'd love to see you there. The link you're going to find in the show notes, it's karma-u.com/workshop. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you soon. Lots of love.